The moment I realized my brother was trying to delete me from our family line, it felt like the world went silent. Not a fight, not a mistake, planned erasure. Then I found the forged papers. My name scratched out like I never existed. That's when I stopped being afraid. Because once I showed those papers to the whole family, he finally learned what it feels like to be exposed. Started with small things. Missing messages. Muted tension in my parents' voices. And my brother smiling a little too much when I wasn't included. Growing up, my brother Ethan and I were close enough to share secrets but distant enough to avoid real fights. Or so I thought. The shift began after our family started preparing new documents for our parents' estate, something meant to secure everyone's future. I wasn't worried. I'd never been the type to chase inheritance, nor did I think anyone in my family would weaponize it. But within weeks I felt the distance. Family group chats were oddly quiet for me while exploding with activity for everyone else. I would learn about gatherings only after seeing photos online. And each time, Ethan insisted I must have missed the message. First, I believed him. People forget. Notifications fail. Then came the moment that snapped me awake. My mother mentioned a document I supposedly signed, agreeing to step back from certain family decisions. Except I had never seen it. When I asked Ethan, he shrugged, saying, "Maybe you forgot. You never pay attention." It wasn't what he said. It was how confidently he said it, like he knew I had no proof otherwise. But I would soon discover he'd been planning this far longer than I ever imagined. D.1 wrong file name. 1 forgotten email trail. That's all it took for his perfect lie to crack. I began checking everything. Emails, documents, even old text threads. I didn't expect to find anything. Part of me still wanted to believe I was imagining the tension. But a shared family drive folder held the first real proof. A PDF tagged with my initials. I opened it and froze. It was a resignation letter. A full-page statement supposedly written by me, agreeing to remove myself from family representation on legal matters. The signature. A shaky, misplaced scrawl that vaguely resembled mine, but only vaguely. And the metadata didn't lie. The file had been created from Ethan's laptop. I remember staring at the screen, my chest tightening. Why would my own brother go this far? Was it money? Control? Jealousy? I didn't know. But I knew I couldn't confront him yet. Not without more. So I printed the document, slid it into a binder, and started a quiet investigation. I watched how he spoke to our parents, how he redirected conversations, how he emphasized my disinterest in anything important. Patterns emerged. Patterns I could prove. But the next thing I found wasn't just suspicious. It was perso. Well, I thought the forged document was the worst. Then I saw what he'd been telling our parents behind my back. The breakthrough came when I borrowed my mother's phone to help her with an app update. She trusted me, unaware of the war quietly unfolding between her children. A notification popped up from Ethan. "She's unstable again. Don't stress her with details." Again. Unstable. My pulse hammered. He had been rewriting who I was, carefully shaping a version of me that suited his agenda. Person who forgot things. A person who signed documents and then denied it. A person who didn't deserve to be taken seriously. I opened the full thread. Every message cut a little deeper. She doesn't want responsibility. She told me she's stepping back. I'll handle things. She gets overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. That word repeated more than anything. He wasn't removing me from documents. He was removing me from credibility. I screenshotted everything, transferred it to my phone, and locked the files away. But the next revelation proved he wasn't just lying. He had a motive. Money isn't always the root of betrayal. Sometimes it's power. Sometimes it's fear. I didn't understand Ethan's obsession until I stumbled upon a conversation he'd had with our aunt. The thread hinted at something deeper. A business proposal he wanted to funnel through the family name. But to do that, he needed full decision-making authority. Without me. The deal was risky, borderline unethical, And if it failed, the entire family could suffer financially. And Ethan, he needed someone to blame. Someone who wasn't actually involved. Someone like me. So he crafted the perfect narrative. He was responsible. I was emotional. He was logical. I was distracted. It wasn't sibling rivalry. It was strategic character assassination. The cruelty wasn't in the plan. It was in how naturally he executed it. But I wasn't the only one he underestimated. The more he pushed me out, the clearer my path became. And I stopped playing defense. By this point, I had enough evidence to confront him privately. But confronting him wouldn't expose him. It would only warn him. And I needed him to stay confident, careless, predictable. So I played along. I missed a few group calls intentionally. I acted confused when dates changed. I asked him to remind me of things. And he slipped. Again and again. He forwarded a message thread that revealed he'd been deleting my replies to family events. He misquoted things I never said. And when cornered with simple questions, he got defensive, too defensive. Took notes. I recorded timestamps. I gathered witnesses. And then I quietly scheduled a meeting with our parents. I didn't tell him. He walked into that room unprepared because he wasn't supposed to be there. He thought it was a casual family discussion. I knew it was the moment everything would unravel. My parents wanted clarity on estate updates and final signatures. Perfect. Ethan walked in smiling, believing he controlled the narrative. He even brought color-coded folders like he was presenting a corporate pitch. I let him talk. I let him explain how hard it had been to manage everything alone. I watched his eyes dart toward my parents every time he emphasized how unavailable I'd been. When he finally asked if I had anything to add, I nodded. His confidence wavered. I placed my binder on the table, opened it, and slid the forged resignation toward our parents. My mother gasped. My father's jaw tightened. Ethan froze. Then I pulled out the screenshots, the messages, the file logs, the metadata. Piece by piece, I dismantled his version of reality. But the final blow was still waiting in my pocket. Point 1 audio recording. 1 minute long. Enough to destroy months of calculated lies. I played the audio from a conversation Ethan didn't know I recorded. In it, he bragged to a friend about clearing me out of the way, so he could push the business deal through without obstacles. He laughed. He mocked me. He said, "She'll believe anything if you say it gently." My parents listened in silence. When the audio ended, the room felt cold. Ethan tried to spin it, said it was just a joke, taken out of context, not serious. But the tone of his voice had already condemned him. My father asked him directly, "Did you forge her signature?" Ethan didn't answer, which was answer enough. The meeting ended with one decision. I would take his role. He would step back completely. But the aftermath wasn't a victory dance. It was something far more complicated. Exposure brings justice. But it also brings silence. And the silence after betrayal is the loudest. For weeks, the house felt heavier. My parents apologized more than necessary. Extended relatives reached out, each more shocked than the last. And Ethan. He vanished into his own corner of the world. He didn't text. He didn't call. He didn't fight for redemption. Part of me expected to feel triumphant. But instead I felt tired. Winning doesn't always feel like victory. Sometimes it feels like letting go of someone you once trusted. Still, there was clarity. I reclaimed my voice, my place, my name. And our family learned something important. Silence is the soil where manipulation grows. I wasn't silent anymore. End of story.